I'm Emma Mitchell. I'm a psychic medium and Reiki master. Again, I'm bringing you spirit stories, this time from my own experiences again. These stories are from my past, from about 2017 and 2018 when I lived in an apartment in Michigan. So I lived in this apartment by myself with my dog and my cat, and there were several things that happened at this point in my life that were just very different. So the first story I'm going to tell you is that I had a very strong feeling that there was a ghost in my apartment, and this was, of course, before I knew that I had psychic abilities. So I had this sense that there was a spirit, and it would fly around, and it would especially fly around like at night, and it would go into corners, and it would hang out in this space next to the kitchen, next to the cabinets, in the living room area. And my animals would watch it. They would watch it move around the space all the time. And I never felt like it was a threat or anything, but I did know that it was there, and it was very obvious that it was there. I could feel it moving, I could feel the air, and I just had this general sense. So actually, when I learned how to meditate, it was from this woman who was, or I assume still is, a Reiki master as well, and she had a lot of psychic abilities too. So she came over to my apartment, and this was in early, or I guess late 2017. She showed me how to meditate for the first time. Well, that same session, she was talking to me, and I said, "Hey, can I ask you, is there a ghost in here?" And she said, "Oh yeah, and he's right behind you, sitting or flying up by the cabinets, by the kitchen in the living room," which is exactly where I knew was kind of his home in a way. That's where he hung out the most. And that was the first time I felt like, oh my gosh, somebody is actually validating my experience here. This is not just me being crazy or thinking there's something here that doesn't exist. This is a person who can see it too. A few days later, she talked to me again, and she said, "Do you see this spirit?" And I said, "No, I just sense that it's here." And she said, "Okay, well, it's a little boy, and I sometimes see him in the hallway," because she lived right down the apartment building from me. And she said she sometimes sees him in the hallway, and he's just like a little boy, happy, but just running around. And it made sense to me, the energy of him. But what also would happen with this kid was, as soon as we acknowledged that he existed, he became even more amplified with his energy. And so when I would try to meditate, because now, I knew how to do it at night, he would come around me, and I swear he would go like this in front of my eyes. I would see it. I would have my eyes closed, and when you have your eyes closed and you can see somebody doing this, that's what he would do. And he would just fly around, and it was just very annoying. Like, he was being an annoying kid. So I stopped meditating at night because I could tell that was when he wanted to get my attention. Well, this lady did tell me how to help him move on. So I did call in angels to help him move up and off the earth plane, and it did finally work. I was a little sad when he left though, because I felt like, oh, he's kind of my little buddy, but I was glad that he was able to move on. And I never got a sense of what happened to him, and I guess I could do a psychic reading and figure that out, but I assume that he was attached to the building and something happened to him at some point. So the other story I wanted to tell, and I actually have quite a few stories from that apartment, but a few months before I moved out, there was these people who moved in downstairs, and luckily they weren't right below me, but they were kitty corner below me, and their space was there was like a walk off, like a sliding glass door that was right in the front of the apartment building. So anytime I was outside with my dogs, like, I could see into their place, and they were doing something. I don't know if they were drug dealers or what, but they had some real sketchy people over there all the time, and they were sketchy too. Like, I just got this grimy, nasty feeling coming from them that made me very uncomfortable. So, and I should preface, grimy, nasty, like energetically. I don't want you to think I'm judging them in a really terrible way, but I just felt like these people aren't safe and there's something off about them. So one night I came home, I was hanging out with this guy I was dating at the time and his friends, and I got home, I would say probably like 1 a.m. or something. And I came home and I took my dog outside. So I lived on the second floor, and we walked out the door of my apartment, and my dog, Drogo, started freaking out. He was acting really weird, and I had this general sense that there was something weird in the hallway. And I, of course, still couldn't see anything at that point, so I didn't know, but it just felt very uneasy and weird. And those people that I was talking about had friends over or something at this point in time too. So when I was walking down the stairs with my dog who was freaking out, we went out the front door and out into the sidewalk, and he even more so started freaking out. Like the air, everything felt really eerie that night, but he didn't want to be out there. He went to the bathroom, and we ran back inside. Like he was pulling on the leash so hard. So we came back inside, went up the stairs, I opened the door and closed it. And all I remember after that was something felt like it followed us inside. And my dog started barking and freaking out. Like he was like, say I'm facing the front door here. He was facing the door and just bark, bark, bark. And easing back, like moving back, like bark, bark. And then he would run in the bedroom, and then he'd run out and start barking again at this thing. And it must have been moving around in the apartment. And of course I did not see it, but I could feel it, and energetically it felt very scary. And I still don't know what it was, but he did that several times, like running in the bedroom, running back out and barking. Then I saw him barking at it, and I could feel this thing moving, easing out of the apartment and out the door and into the hallway again. And my dog was like barking at it and following it to the door, barking until it left the space. And that story, I mean, I'm still freaked out by that, because what the heck was it? I have such a strong feeling it came from those people downstairs and their friends. Maybe not, I don't know, but it really felt like they were doing some nasty stuff. They were dragging spirits and other things in. And there's many other stories about that space, but those were the two that really stuck out to me. If you have any stories of your own and you want to share them on this video series, please let me know. I'd love to interview, and we can do a psychic reading and tell you what it's all about. Have a good rest of your day.